Welcome back to another episode of the Sports Playbook, where I'll give you a breakdown of what's been happening in the world of sport over the last 7 days. You're joined by your host Demos. Once again, it's been a huge week in the world of sports, so you know the drill. Let's get right into it. In the NRL, the Dragons beat the ladder-leading Raiders. In a soaking wet weekend of football, if it was played in Sydney or New South Wales, the Dragons breathed fire down onto the Raiders. It was a goal-kicking masterclass from Dragons halfback Kyle Flanagan, with 5 from 5 goals as the wind and the rain were swaying side to side. Kyle kicked 5 from 5 goals. 3 of those goals were penalty goals. In the end, the Dragons won by 6 points over the Raiders. For the Raiders, it's their first time since round 4 in the competition that they have lost away from home. That's 18 rounds that they've held that record for. In the other games, the West Tigers defeated the Bulldogs 28-14. It was the Tigers' playground in the first half as they scored 20 points and they went into the break with a 16-point lead. The Bulldogs were unable to match the Tigers in those slippery conditions. For the Tigers, that's their 8th win of the season. That's 2 more victories than what they achieved back in 2024. The Broncos, they were also too good for the Rabbitohs, defeating the Bunnies 60-14 at Suncorp. In the NRLW, at the first Magic round, the Roosters continued to dominate the competition. The Roosters defeated the West Tigers 34-4 in wet and slippery conditions in Newcastle. Yes, that is the theme of the weekend. There were some impressive stats across the field for the Roosters side, but none more impressive than the pair of their centres, Jess Surges and Isabel Kelly. Isabel Kelly scored 2 tries with 19 runs for 202 metres. 70 of those metres were post-contact metres. And for Jess Surges, she also got 2 tries, 18 runs and 154 run metres. 53 of those metres were post-contact metres. That's an impressive stat for any rugby league player. And in the other games, there was a bit of history made in the NRLW. The Titans and the Bulldogs participated in the first draw in the NRLW's history. The draw was 14-all. Neither side was able to break the deadlock or get that all-important field goal. The Roosters remain 1 win clear of the rest of the competition. In the AFL, the Adelaide Crows overtake Collingwood to take top spot on the AFL ladder. For the Adelaide Crows, they hosted Hawthorn in Adelaide. It was a back and forth affair with momentum going between either side, but the Crows were able to use the last bit of their momentum to get the win by 14 points. In the other games, whilst the Orange Tsunami had a huge win against the Swans last week, they received a royal thumping against the Western Bulldogs by 88 points. Whilst the Giants are still in the top 8, that is a devastating loss for that team. For the Gold Coast Suns, they won by 84 points against Richmond. For Richmond, the stats did not look pretty. They only scored 2 goals and 11 behind in a pretty embarrassing display for the Richmond team. But in one of the biggest games, the Brisbane Lions defeated Collingwood by 27 points at the MCG. Logan Morris starred for the Lions, scoring 6 goals in the affair. And Jeremy Cameron is on the cusp of making history. He helped guide Geelong to an 88-point victory over Port Adelaide. Cameron currently sits on 75 goals, needing the all-important 100 goals in one season. Jeremy Cameron scored 6 goals on the weekend. The last person to achieve 100 goals in a season? It was Lance Franklin back in 2008 for Hawthorn. In swimming, Australia's star in the World Aquatic Championships in Singapore. Sprinter Meg Harris secured the last gold for Australia in the 50-metre freestyle event. In one of the major triumphs in the World Aquatic Championships, Molly O equalled the great Ian Thorpe with 11 World Championship titles. That's super impressive, and Molly's only 21 years old. With that, the Australians, they finished second in the medal tally. With the United States coming in first with 9 gold medals, the Australians came in second with 8 gold medals, 6 silver medals, and 6 bronze medals in an impressive display in Singapore. In rugby union, the Wallabies, they win the final test against the British and Irish Lions. Prior to the match, Wallabies halfback Nick White announced that it will be his final international test match after 73 caps with the Wallabies. In a game that was interrupted by the lightning, there was a delay for 40 minutes early into the second half. For the Wallabies, they built upon their 8-0 lead that they had going into halftime. They ended up winning the match 22-12 against the British and Irish Lions in Sydney. For Wallabies fans, it's an extremely promising sign leading into a home World Cup, which is in 2027. Even Lions coach Andy Farrell mentioned that the Wallabies will be a force to be reckoned with come the home World Cup in 2027. He said their progress in the last 18 months has gone through the roof. And in cycling, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot wins the Tour de France Femmes. Prévot on Sunday became the first French woman to win the Tour de France since 1989. For Paulina, she already adds to an incredibly impressive resume that includes an Olympic gold medal in mountain biking and also conquering the cobblestones in the Paris-Roubaix Classic. The best Australian in the race settled for 6th place, and that was Sarah Gigante, who was 6 minutes and 40 seconds in the general classifications behind Paulina, the eventual winner. Gigante mentioned in the final stage of the Tour de France, it was 2 hours of pain, heartbreak and hope, all captioned in one. In netball, in the grand final, the Melbourne Vixens win the 2025 Premiership in front of a sold-out Rod Laver Arena with 15,000 people. The Melbourne Vixens defeated the West Coast Fever by 1 point. The Fever, they came into the contest as heavy favourites due to their dominant display in the semi-finals. The defensive pairing of Rudy Ellis and Joe Weston made it a tough night for Janelle Fowler-Namard. Joe had an impressive game with 5 deflections and 1 intercept to her name, and Rudy also had 3 deflections and 1 intercept to her name as well. For Kira Austin, she was involved in everything, off the ball and on the ball. Kira scored 23 goals and also had 3 Suncorp super shots. For Simone McInnes, in her final game as Vixens head coach, Simone can sign off with 3 premierships to her name in 2014, 2020 and 2025 after 13 seasons. I guess going to the pub does really pay off after all. And in cricket, India defeat England by 6 runs to draw the series. In the final hour of play, India took 4 wickets to bowl England out for 367. England only needed 35 runs to win the test match. But Indian fast bowler Mohammad Siraj was the star for India, finishing with figures for 5 for 104. At one stage though, England were 3 for 301. They lost their final 7 wickets for 66 runs. The moment that had everyone talking was the heroics of Chris Woakes, the England fast bowler. For Woakes, with his arm in a sling, covered by his vest, he walks down onto the pitch, with England needing 17 runs to win. For the 37-year-old, he showed a lot of courage walking down to the pitch, and whilst he didn't get any runs or face any balls, his England teammates needed him, and he got a standing ovation thanks to the crowd. With that, we will take a short break, and after, get into your burning rubber breakdown. It's time for the burning rubber breakdown. Let's burn it up. In Formula 1, Lando Norris wins a thrilling Hungarian Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari would start on pole position, but it was the battle of the McLaren teammates that was about to heat up. For Lando Norris, he gambled on a 1 pit stop strategy, which meant he had to stay in the same tyres for 40 laps. For Oscar, he copied Charles Leclerc with a 2 pit stop strategy. For Piastri, he had Norris set in his sights, and with 2 laps to go, he got that gap down to 0.6 seconds. Going into the first corner, Piastri dived down the inside, locking all brakes and almost hitting the back of his teammate. He wasn't able to make the move stick, and Lando Norris hung on for a thrilling Grand Prix finish. For Oscar, he continues to hold on to the championship lead by 9 points to his teammate Norris, going into the summer break. The next race is the Dutch Grand Prix from August 29th to August 31st. Also in Formula 1, Max Verstappen to stay at Red Bull Racing. Whilst there's been quite a lot of media speculation, prior to the Hungarian Grand Prix, Verstappen in the media pen confirmed he was staying at Red Bull Racing for 2026. Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff confirms that he had held talks with Verstappen to convince him to come to the Mercedes team in 2026, but Verstappen emphatically said that he's staying with the Red Bull outfit. That was this week's Burning Rubber Breakdown, and now it's time to get into your fast fact for a pub chat. It's time to pull up a chair and pour yourself a drink. It's this week's fast fact for a pub chat. This week's fast fact is dedicated to the NRL, and in particular, it's Adam Reynolds. Did you know during the Broncos and Bunnies match, Adam Reynolds made history? Reynolds became the second player to score 2,500 points in NRL history. Who's the other person that's in that club? It's Cameron Smith. He has scored 2,786 points. So it begs the question, do you think Adam Reynolds can make up that total before he retires? That's this week's Fast Fact for a Pub Chat. And now it's time for your Playbook Planner. Here are some sports to look forward to this weekend. In the AFL, Hawthorn will take on Collingwood in a top 8 clash. It's on Thursday, the 7th of August at 7:30pm. You can catch it on Channel 7 or KO. In the NRL, the Storm will take on the Broncos in another top 8 clash. It's on Thursday, the 7th of August at 7:50pm. You can catch it on Channel 9 or KO. In the NRL, it's the local derby. It's the Dragons taking on the Sharks on Saturday, the 9th of August at 3pm. You can catch it only on KO. In the NRL, the Dolphins will take on the Roosters also on Saturday, the 9th of August from 5:30pm. This game, it's only on KO Sports. In the AFL, Port Adelaide will take on the Fremantle Dockers. It's on Saturday, the 9th of August from 8:10pm. You can catch it only on KO Sports. In the NRLW, the Titans will take on the Roosters on Sunday, the 10th of August from 11:50am. You can catch it on Channel 9 or KO. Also in the NRLW, the Eels will take on the Cowboys on Sunday, the 10th of August from 6:15pm. You can catch it on Channel 9 or KO. And finally, in the cricket, it's Australia taking on South Africa in the first of the T20 internationals. It's on Sunday, the 10th of August from 7pm. You can catch it only on KO. And with that, we have come to the end of today's show. Thank you for tuning in. Please send this podcast to someone that needs something for their commute. With that, we will catch you on the next play.